Alright, we're about to do oil change, gear oil, and final drive oil change on a 2017 Moto Guzzi V9 Power. So for the tools you're going to need for the oil change, 18mm wrench, 13mm socket with extension, 3/8 ratchet, oil pan. Of course, I have an oil filter and some 10W60 oil. For this one, I'm using Moto. So that's as far as that's all you need for. That's all the tools that you're going to need to do this. If there's anything else, you'll see it in the video. Alright, so the first thing we did, took the motorbike out for probably a good 20-mile ride. Got the engine, everything's real hot. So get all the oil out of here. First thing we do, unloosen the oil plug. Common sense. Get this pan out the way. Alright, break that free. It's pretty easy. This oil is gonna be freaking hot, so got some gloves on. I have the motorbike on one of my Black Widow stand just to kind of get it up on an angle so I get some extra room. Ooh, get that wash out of here. Go ahead and we'll let the oil drain out the plug. Now, while that's finishing draining, we'll go ahead and undo the filter. As you can see, plug's pretty clean. I did the first service at the dealer, and at 900 miles, the manual recommended. And then did an oil change, came home, put about another 1,000 miles on it, and dumping that oil out to, I guess, I got some OCD, so just getting the rest of the shit out of there. But there was nothing on the plug, didn't even really have to wipe it off on the magnet. So while the oil is draining out of the drain plug, get some more light over here. I'm gonna go ahead and use a 13mm socket and go ahead, let's see if I can get it right there. You go. Undo that nut to drop the filter, and some more oil come out of there also. All right, we're gonna go ahead. Get the 13mm socket extension. And that's one good thing about this bike. There's a lot of metal, steel, I guess you could say, so I can put my magnetic flashlight just about everywhere. There we go. I'm gonna turn that light a little bit. There we go. We can see that a little bit better. All right, got some oil draining out of that. This part's a mess because it's hot.
Is it?
And it all comes out. You can see a shitload of oil comes out of that part. My wife's bringing me some coffee. You were in the video, babe. Your face. Yeah, you can see. It's all good. So once the majority of all that hot oil gets out of there, got this long bolt that goes in there, holds the filter. You unscrew it. Man, the oil's hot. Got a bunch more draining out of the drain plug also. Oof. It's all flowing out pretty good. I'm letting it drain out some more so I don't keep burning myself. As you can see, and as you're getting it all out, it starts draining pretty good. You know, it'll drain out that main pan, and then once you start loosening up this filter, it'll all dump out, and then it all starts kind of just really flowing out of the drain pan in the back here. Position that good. Get this filter out of here now. There we go. Once that's a little loose, you get this whole little spring assembly here. Ooh, that's hot as shit. But yep. Super hot, man, super hot. This is the oil filter right here. Ooh, man. That was hot. Once the filter's out, go ahead, wipe all the oil off of these fins. Clean that all off pretty good. Next thing I do is go ahead and put the drain plug and the washer back in the little drain plug hole here. Yeah. Go ahead. up. I'll go ahead and torque it all to the correct specs after. I can't remember all this stuff off the top of my head. I'll get my torque wrench out later and do it. Once I torque this, and I'll torque the filter too. Alright, so for the oil filter and the oil, got the Moto Guzzi OEM. Jumped everything with one hand. Oil filter. Got the oil filter cap, and this is the oil filter O-ring, or cap O-ring, as I say. I guess you'd have to. I mean, if you're going with the manual says every 6,000 miles, yeah, I would definitely change this every time, but I'm not waiting 6,000 miles to change the oil in this thing. So, I mean, I guess if you ever do it every 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles, you can probably reuse it. But, I mean, it's cheap, so I'll just change it. And for oil, let's get this liquid moly, SAE 10W60 street race oil is recommended for it. So let me give that a shot, see how it goes. The manual says it takes 2 liters of oil, and from what I read on the internet, so just to make it all simple, got a 2-liter pitcher, 4-liter jug of oil. So kind of helps with just figuring out how much you're putting in a damn bike. Makes it a little easier. So for anybody who's ever done an oil change, go ahead and put some oil on those O-rings on the top and on the bottom. Kind of makes it, I guess, seal a little bit better and a little easier getting in. A little bit light. So, got your bolt. Get your oil filter cover or cap with new O-ring installed. First time I did an oil change, just kind of checking here. I had a couple fine little particles, real fine, but other than that, I wiped them out. On this oil change, there's nothing in there. And gonna take your oil filter, slide that into the hole. It's really a little tight. Just kind of twist and push in. You'll feel it go in. Get that screw in there. And these little fins here, these are going to port towards the front of the bike. Oops. A piece of fuzz or something. It's gonna insert just like that. See, it'll sit there pretty much like this. I don't know how good you can see it. Try not to blind you. Right, fits right in there. Go ahead and get this nut started. This little socket extension here just to kind of get it going by hand. You definitely don't want to strip shit out. These have all kinds of problems, so you have to take everything apart. Yeah, first time I did this, well, I had the oil came in it from the factory for the first time. Second time, well, after we did that, it ran 1,000 miles with was it red line oil. Got that from the dealership that I bought the bike from. This time, I'm gonna try this liquid moly, see how it works, and after that, maybe try, I don't know, Moto or something. See which one I like best and see how the bike runs. I mean, they're all specified for this bike, so it's within specs. But I'm kind of anal and OCD. Like I said, the manual says change this every 6,000 miles. Yeah, I live down south. It gets pretty hot. But I'll probably change it every 2,000 miles because I'm anal. And plus, I plan on keeping this bike for a very long time. I don't plan on getting rid of it. Even if I get something else, I'll later on down the road, I'll take it out for a little ride every Saturday morning or something. Just keep it going. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get the torque specs for these, torque these up, and then I'll go ahead and put oil in it. So this part's pretty much common sense. Funnel, oil, 42 liters of oil into the engine. Of course, once you got the oil, and go ahead and put the dipstick back in. I would go ahead and fire it up right now, but I got this little tool, I don't know, Guzzi Moto or something. It's pretty good, snug it up. But, yeah, I'll fire this up in a minute, but I'm gonna go ahead and drain the transmission and the final drop also one last time. To get the drain plug out for the transmission, I get a crow's foot, 22 millimeter, I believe, or 24, I have to check it. Extension and a breaker bar, and it'll pop loose, and just unscrew it like that. Just watch out not to jack up this O2 sensor, and you have this cross piece for the exhaust. I think my battery, oh man, my battery died. Oh, look at that shit. Anyway, you can see. So, drain this out. You're looking for a good LED light, man? I bought this at Harbor Freight for like $9. This thing has been on for hours before it finally died. So. For the gear fluid, or gear oil, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to do this cap right here first before I go dumping all my gear oil out. I guess just like you do in the car, you know. Undo the fill plug, make sure that's loose, and you get that shit out. And it'll help with your oil draining out. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead, finish taking that cap out, let that drain out. I'm doing this with my freaking iPhone, man, so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I say, what the hell is that? There is a little Guzzi's got this little filter cap in there. That just twists out and pops out. Put that to the side. Let that drain. gave it a few minutes to let it drain, and then I actually stood the bike up level, just sat on the bike for a couple of minutes, let everything drain out real good. All waiting. It's going there. If you see any debris or anything, use the Q-tip, kind of clean it out, but I didn't see anything. I see a little small piece. I think the very first time I did this. But other than that, it's nothing. What the hell? So, a little filter case, just kind of, you slide it in, and it just goes like a little pop. You feel it pop in, and it's in place and sealed up. Next thing, check the magnet, make sure everything's clean. Check the O-ring on the drain cap. Go ahead and put that back in place. Just, say, looking at the camera, just line it up. Snug that up, and then I'll go ahead and retighten that. I think, don't quote me, I think the torque spec is like 25 to 30 Newton meters, so I'll go and do that, but make sure you check it on this manual or the service manual. So to fill the transmission, set your oil filter up like this. So like most of my other fluids, I buy measuring cups. It just makes it easier. Transmission takes, I believe, 500 milliliters. So I think it's 75.90 Moto gear oil. So just pre-measured, and go ahead and dump it in. Go ahead and pour the gear fluid in. Pretty simple. So once you got that, got the fluid in, go ahead and put your cap in. Sucks trying to do everything with one hand. Clutch cable here comes across. A pain in the ass, but and I think torque specs on this 23 to 27, so Newton meters. Go ahead and torque this. That's it. So now we're going to do the final drive, or the transmission as Moto Guzzi calls it. It's kind of weird. That's the gearbox. We call it the transmission. Moto Guzzi calls it gearbox. Final drive, they call it the transmission. So make sure you get your fluids right. So I believe this is 90-140 or 85-140 or something like that. I got the gear fluid up there. It's actually 85W140. check the owner's manual. It'll tell you exactly what kind of gate I use. Bell Ray, so I'm using right now. So, but so far it's quiet. Works good. Measuring cups, I drain. I believe it takes 180 milliliters. Sorry. But I use this. I drain out. I'll put back in, just to keep it simple. So like what I said, undo this fill port first. Put that to the side. Start draining another drain port here. Go ahead and start letting this drain out. I don't want this rushing all over the tires and everything. A little bit of metal shavings on there. Nothing big, just little small pieces. That towel down. So looking at the manual, it's 180 cc or 180 milliliters, same thing. Manual calls for 85 140 in transmission, final drive, height board, gear oil. Got this from AF1 Racing. The guys are pretty good. It came with this. Let's see, I got this, the O-rings for the drain and fill plug. Like I said last time, I put in 180 milliliters or 180 cc's. Right about 200 came out. I think I let it drain a little bit longer this time than after the first initial 900 miles. But go ahead and, like it says, it calls for 180. So on the fill up, 180. So the way I get this into that little hole is I use a syringe. Basically, I got a 100 cc syringe. I'll pour, I have a little small hose. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna show you a picture of it. So this is what I use to get the gear oil in. It's got this hose on it. First time I was an idiot. I tried sucking it up this tube, man, this stuff stinks. So basically what you do is just take the little plunger piece out. You know, I'll fill it up to 50 milliliters or 50 cc. Push that in, do another 50, push that in, do another 50, and then I'll fill up to like 30, and then push that in, and it's good to go. I mean, you can look at it, it's coming right up to the fill mark, and then you just close it up. I mean, this is the easiest way. I mean, I think I bought this, I don't know, maybe on Amazon, man, for like $5 or something like that, and I bought the hose. It was cheap. So basically, this is what I do. Right now, this first one is filled up to 70 cc's and milliliters, and I'll go ahead and I'll shoot this in, and then I'll come back and get the rest. So got everything filled back. I'm gonna head torque these 2 bolts. That syringe, it makes it pretty easy. I mean, everybody's got their own way, but it works for me. And also for the other fluids, I recommend getting some measuring cups. It works for me. I mean, I got these from the Cycle Gear. You know, this one I use for my gear fluid. This one I use this for the final drive the first time, but then I was like, you know what? I got my syringe, so I've been using it for that. This one right here, get it off of Amazon. You know, 2 liters. You can get these things up to 5 liters, and they withstand the chemicals, oils, and stuff like that. So. Oh, that's it. The Moto Guzzi's all done. Took me about an hour, I guess. That's what filming. But I said 2 liters of oil for the engine, 500 milliliters of gear oil for the transmission, gearbox, and 180 milliliters or cc's in the final drive. I know a lot of people, I mean, they're pretty adamant about changing their oil, but a lot of people forget about the gearbox and the final drive. I mean, that oil for the final drive, it's pretty cheap, man. It's like $8 for a liter of it, and you could do that 4 times. So I mean, it only takes a few seconds. The way I look at it, I mean, that's a pretty important part of the bike. I mean, it's moving you, so you kind of want to keep that maintained, and you don't want that to go out on you or fail. That'll probably end pretty bad. And it's probably expensive to replace that, but like I said, it's cheap. I mean, normally when I do my oil, I just do my gearbox and final drive. When you look at the dollar wise, man, it's cheap. I mean, I wouldn't pay a shop to do it, because a lot of times, like when I got this bike, you know, you take it for a service, or other bikes I've had, you take it in for a service, it's like, sometimes you kind of get the feeling, man, these guys ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So sometimes it's better just learn your motorcycle, learn how to take care of it, learn how to maintain it. Nowadays, there's so much information online. I mean, for this bike here, I found the maintenance manual, engine manual. It has all the torque specifications, all the fluid capacities. And it's a pretty simple bike to work on. All right, well, it's been a pleasure. Have a good one. Bye.